Hi, President Trump joining us for a wide-ranging interview just moments ago. Kristen Fisher has cable, and she lives in Washington, and she has some highlights for us. Hey, Kristen.
Hey guys, good morning. Well, as you heard, President Trump, he spent the first few minutes of the interview this morning really pressuring the Attorney General Bill Barr to appoint a special prosecutor to investigate Joe and Hunter Biden. Now, Democrats have been saying that this is all one big disinformation campaign coming straight from Russia. But just yesterday, a group of House Republicans called on Bill Barr to do the exact same thing. And now this morning, you have President Trump saying that he would like that to happen before Election Day.
We've got to get the Attorney General to act. He's got to act, and he's got to act fast. He's got to appoint somebody. This is major corruption, and this has to be known about before the election.
Well, that is just 14 days away, and we're just 2 days away from the third and final debate. And this morning, the president was asked, is he perhaps going to change up his debate strategy from the first debate, maybe interrupt former Vice President Joe Biden just a little bit less? And he actually said this morning that he may do that.
The interesting thing, they said if you let him talk, he'll lose his chain of thought because he's gonzo. But I also understand that as he's going down the line and issuing lies, generally it's okay to, really attack that. There were a lot of people that say let him talk because he loses his train.
Now, it has been 91 days since Congress has passed any sort of coronavirus stimulus package. The two sides have really been stuck. You've got House Speaker Nancy Pelosi at $2.2 trillion, the White House at around $1.8 million. But the big headline this morning is President Trump saying that he might be willing to go above that $2.2 trillion number that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has been pushing.
But I want to do it even bigger than the Democrats because this is money going to people that did not deserve what happened to them coming out of China. Now, to just put it very simply, we want to do it, but Nancy Pelosi doesn't want to do it. We're talking about money going to the American people that got hurt, and they shouldn't have been hurt. This was caused by China. They shouldn't have been hurt, and we shouldn't be punishing them, and we're punishing them because of Nancy Pelosi.
So watch closely throughout the day to see if these two sides, House Democrats and the White House's top negotiators, are able to get any closer to a deal that could impact so many Americans. As for the president, well, he's back on the campaign trail today, heading to Pennsylvania for another one of those big rallies. Guys?
All right. Thank you so much, Kristen. Let's bring in Sarah Sanders, Fox News contributor, former White House press secretary, and author of Speaking for Myself. Hey, Sarah.
Good morning.
Good morning. We're 2 days away from the debate, 2 weeks away from the election. And he is not happy with the moderator of the debate, says that he's worried she's going to be biased. He's not happy with this mute button. What do you think about the changes to the debate?
Well, let's not forget the last debate had to be canceled because the commission changed the format and announced it without ever talking to either of the two campaigns. I think that it's been very clear throughout this process that it's probably time to shut the commission down and let the campaigns negotiate the deals for the debates among themselves. The commission, I think, is an outdated and certainly, I think, has a lot of bias, as we have seen in the selection of a couple of the moderators. I think it's time to end the commission. Let the campaigns make those determinations and negotiations among the two of them.
Sarah, what do you think about the president's answer on a change, not just in debate rules, but in debate strategy? There was some suggestion maybe he'll interrupt less. What do you think about that strategy?
Well, I think he's exactly right. If he lets Joe Biden talk long enough, I think he certainly will make plenty of mistakes on his own without having to have the president call each one of those out. That doesn't mean the president shouldn't hold Joe Biden's feet to the fire. I think the president absolutely has to make the contrast between what America looks like under Joe Biden and what it will continue to look like under him. More Americans trust this president on the economy than Joe Biden. He needs to remind people of that. the majority of the country says that they are better off now than they were 4 years ago. That's because of the leadership of this president. He should be making those contrasts and making sure people know what America will look like under a Joe Biden presidency. We can either continue on the path of prosperity and safety and security under this president, or we can go down the path of socialism under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. That's not what Americans want. And I think if he makes that contrast, it'll be a very strong and winning message for the president on Thursday.
When your dad was clear your dad was not going to beat Donald Trump, you jumped to the Trump team in 2016. Can you compare what it was like then on the eve of an election compared to now? You know the numbers, you know the talk, you know the media, and instead of wanting the job, he has the job. Can you compare the two?
Well, I think, before it was a lot of rhetoric and it was a lot of talk about what Donald Trump would do when he became president. Now he has a record of accomplishment to run on. He has had a tremendously successful 3.5 years as president, almost 4. He has completely remade the judiciary, rebuilt the military, defeated the ISIS caliphate, created historic tax cuts, trade deals like we've never seen before. In every area of our country, every demographic and every American is doing better under the leadership of this president. He didn't have that record 4 years ago to talk about that. Now he does. He can compare that with the absolute and utter failure of 47 years in government that Joe Biden has. The president's record could not be more strong to go up against Joe Biden's pathetic record. I think that is such a huge difference for the president, and one he needs to continue making and hammering home in these final days leading up to November 3rd.
When you look at Seattle and you look at Portland, you see what happened to New York a few months ago with all the riots and the non-peaceful protesting. Many New Yorkers I know in this city that I've talked to are nervous and worried that if he does win, what's going to happen? Will people who didn't vote for him be upset, and will they be out there in a non-peaceful way? What do you recommend if that does happen? Does the president work with these Democratic lawmakers to come to some peaceful solution? Is that even possible?
Well, I'm hopeful that Donald Trump will win on November 3rd, clearly and decisively, and we won't have that problem. I do think that America will be in big trouble if Joe Biden wins the presidency, because the type of chaos and madness that we saw in Seattle and Portland and other places is the type of liberal mob chaos that will take place in communities across this country. Joe Biden has shown he is unwilling and unable to stand up to the liberal mob. Donald Trump has proven time and time again, not only is he willing to stand up to them, but he can actually defeat them. He did it in 2016. I'm hopeful that he'll do it again, and it will be a clear and decisive win on November 3rd, and we won't have to worry about that crazy transition of power that could take place.
Sarah, we just have about 30 seconds left. I want to ask you this. The theme seems clear. 2 days before a debate, 2 weeks before an election, you've said it, the president said it, American dream versus socialist future. If I asked you to make that concrete for me, give me the policy you're pointing to that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden would drive America to a socialist future, what is that policy?
Well, I think it's a complete takeover of your life. They want the government to decide everything for your family. I think I can make better decisions about how to raise my kids, protect my kids, provide for my kids than the government can. That is the most clear difference. It is not just about one policy. It's about overall intrusion of government dictating the way that we operate every day. The president was right when he said earlier they would take over health care, they would take away your guns. There are so many areas that they want to control and turn our entire country into a socialized country. That's not what makes America amazing. That's not what makes America the greatest country on the face of the earth. It's having freedom-loving patriots that get to live freely in our country is what makes us special, and they want to take that away. And I think that would be absolutely devastating to who we are.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders, thanks so much.